Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. I think it would be hard to argue that Mark Ruffalo is a good guy. He says a lot of ridiculous things. He believes a lot of ridiculous things. He's also the kind of Hollywood-type person that won't take reality for the answer. He's also been accused of doing something that you're not supposed to do in Hollywood, and boy, could that really destroy his career. So we should probably talk about it. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K, so double check you're still subscribed down below. If not, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, turn on all notifications, hit the thumbs up while you're at it, and if you make some comments, it really helps the video. In fact, if you want to make sure you get to see all of my videos, and I'm making quite a few these days, in order not to miss anything, just watch one of my videos that you haven't seen after this one, and that actually will make it so that you will more likely see my feed. Regardless, let's take a story from The Hollywood Reporter over the weekend where Mark Ruffalo links Paramount to Oracle's Israeli military ties. The studio calls the remarks anti-Semitic, and I would have to agree. And of course, Paramount's not the only one that's doing so. You see, the Marvel actor is highlighting that Larry Ellison's tech company, Oracle, played a role in the recent events in the Middle East, and Paramount says his remarks are a bridge too far and maybe a little inaccurate, especially when he's trying to suggest that the role was bigger than it may have been. So let's jump into the story. Mark Ruffalo has been consistent opponent to Paramount's $111 billion deal for Warner Brothers, probably because he realized nobody wants to hire him ever again in Hollywood. So testifying against the merger to a Senate hearing, he also signed an open letter along with hundreds of other people opposing the deal who are worried they won't get jobs either, and amplifying his message on social media. Now, his latest missive took aim at Larry Ellison specifically, the Oracle founder worth about $200 billion, who's the father of Paramount CEO David Ellison. Well, that's where he came by his billions. And Larry's billions are the key backstop to help his son's merger to the two historic Hollywood studios cross the finish line, which it's going to no matter what Bonta tries to do or anybody else. In fact, we've got another story coming out later today that will talk specifically about what's going on behind the scenes and all the politicians that are changing where the wind is blowing, because they see the winds of change and they don't want to be held accountable when it stops blowing in the, well, unfavorable direction, so to speak. But Ruffalo's post on Instagram highlighted Oracle's ties to the Israeli military. Well, I mean, Oracle's tied to everything. Oracle makes a lot of software and a lot of things that make software work, so it'd be hard not to be tied to everything, and guess what? Oracle is. In fact, they're an enormous company for a reason, and Oracle chief Safra Catz, who is pretty amazing and used to work at Disney as their board of directors member, was recently seen talking up the relationship at the American Council National Summit in 2024. Now, all of these things aside, it doesn't really matter. You can have all kinds of relationships in this world and not be, knee deep in anything that might be bad. And whether or not Ruffalo thinks any kind of association is bad tells you an awful lot of the way he thinks. If you are not rowing the same direction as he is always, if you have just slightly stepped out of line, this guy is going to punish you like every other socialist, fascist, communist that's ever been on this planet. But that's a whole other conversation. So Paramount, of course, slams back at Mark Ruffalo. The merger attack is anti-Semitic, says the company does not tolerate prejudice of any kind, and basically does their level best to push back on this conversation. Now, I will tell you this, Mark's not exactly a sweetheart of a guy, but he's really just invested only in his own belief in politics. And when it comes to this, well, Paramount has the right to swing back, coming out swinging in full force at this guy and sending out their spokesperson to say that they were troubled when anti-Semitic tropes are invoked in purported service of a business dispute. The words like genocide and apartheid applied to a corporate transaction aren't just wrong, but they're a bridge too far, and I would have to agree with that wholeheartedly. In fact, I can't see anyone standing for that, and if they do, they're standing for the wrong things. This is a business transaction in the United States between studios with a printed purpose and now in contract forms with many large cinema operators. So if you take a look at this in just that frame, this is kind of a mess, but it doesn't just stop there, because Mark Ruffalo wouldn't let well enough, lie, and he's used to that word, lie. He fires back after Paramount slammed him, saying that it's appalling and fundamentally dishonest what the spokesperson said or what the studio said about his remarks. I don't know how they could be misconstrued, but I do know that this guy looks to be wearing purple hair, or looks like a Purple Hair Brigade member, and also that he might be, going to the wrong kind of hair salon. I mean, that's like an old lady haircut there, right there. Anyway, he fired back at Paramount after he accused David and Larry Ellison of powering some of the most destructive, inhumane forces in the world. From a movie studio? Maybe, if you make such terrible films like you do, Ruffalo, including Crime, Inc. But when it comes to, your guest involvement with Marvel, the studio did everything to make sure you did not publicize Spider-Man Brand New Day over at Sony, so you couldn't tank and poison that film. And you know what? I bet you Sony was happy that that decision got made. The accusation that I am anti-Semitic is appalling and fundamentally dishonest, he wrote on Saturday morning on X, criticizing the actions of the Israeli prime minister, a military technology contract, or the executives who supply it is not the same as criticizing Jewish people. This is critical and necessary dialogue is then dishonestly framed as being anti-Israel. To be clear, my views come from my own political convictions and should never be interpreted as hostility towards Jewish people, for whom I have deep love and respect. Everything I know about acting, activism, and humanism has been profoundly shaped by the Jewish friends, colleagues, and loved ones who have been integral and family throughout every turning point in my life. I don't really believe what this guy has to say. You probably don't either. But what I do know is this. When you go after somebody like Safra Catz, you're going after a board member that used to be a big part of what Disney used to do and is now a big part of what Oracle does. You're kind of, setting up your cart outside of a mosque trying to sell hot dogs, and that's not good. Not in this industry anyway. You really want to appeal to the broadest possible audience if you're an actor. And that includes the studios and agencies that are going to represent you. You might be turning into kryptonite when it comes to some of these agencies handling you. And I'm sure a lot of them don't like to be thrown in front of or behind a bus that you basically drove over them. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that there are a lot of people out there that are looking at his actions and his words and those of a few other radicals in Hollywood and going, I wouldn't blame Paramount or Warner Brothers Discovery or even Disney from avoiding having a relationship with this actor going forward. You want to talk about a blacklist? Well, Mark Ruffalo may have just signed up for one, and, he probably deserves it. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the matter. I'm curious, what are yours? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you think that he's very smart to go out there with this strategy and attack a group of people who have significant effect in Hollywood and in entertainment as a whole? Do you think that attacking a technology company that you're linking to some modern weaponry is a good plan also? And finally, do you think Mark Ruffalo is well? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it these days. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Watching everything but Mark Ruffalo's movies.